Hi, Miss Valerie here. I'm going to read you a little story. It's a story about the princess and the frog. There once was a princess. She was not an ordinary princess, however. This princess loved to play alone in the palace gardens while she tossed around her favorite beaming golden ball. Now, the problem with playing alone was that no one was ever there to catch the ball if she tossed it too high in the air. One day, while she was running around in the lilies and daisies and hedges and roses, she tossed her ball higher in the air than she ever had before. Splash! Her beautiful golden ball had plopped right into a small pond nearby. She ran over to the pond and watched sadly as the golden sphere sank deeper and deeper into the water. The princess looked down at her dress. She was wearing her favorite golden gown. The sparkles and gems on the front of the brilliant gown were rare, and she was afraid that if she entered the water, she would destroy her dress. Frustrated with her situation, the princess began to cry. Suddenly, the princess heard a strange noise coming from out of the water. Hop, hop. Do you not know how to swim? Asked a small frog. Hop. The princess looked up and scrunched up her face. I don't want to spoil my dress, the princess replied, rolling her eyes at the frog. Well, I suppose I could get it for you, the frog started. You can? Oh, please do, she cried. But before he jumped in the water, the frog turned to her and asked, What will you give me in return for grabbing your golden ball? Oh, you can have anything you desire, the princess replied, impatient to be playing again. What I would like is a friend. That's all. A friend to spend time with me, to eat supper with me, to read for me, to go to sleep beside me, and to kiss me good night, the frog said. Anything, the princess cried. And with that, the green frog hopped into the water and retrieved the princess's golden ball. With that, the minute he handed it over, the girl ran. She ran around giggling and tossing her beloved ball up into the air. She had completely forgotten all about the frog. At supper, the girl was seated at the table with her father. Before either of them could take a bite, there came a small knock at the door. The king got up and walked over to open it. I have come to eat supper with you, princess, the frog said happily, hopping on the table. The princess gently grabbed the frog and placed him outside the door. She turned on her heel as she sat down at her spot once more, ignoring the suspicious look from the king. And who was that, princess? Oh, no one, she replied. The stern look from her father caused her to go a little bit red with embarrassment. She told him that she would spend time with him, that she would eat supper with him and read for him and let him sleep with her and kiss him goodnight. But I don't want to hang out with him. He's gross, she continued. A promise is a promise. We must always keep our promises, the king said wisely. With that, the girl shuffled over to the door and opened it up. The frog ate supper with her and then followed the princess to her bedroom, where she began to read. "What are you reading?" he asked, trying to peer over her shoulder. "Nothing," she replied, and shrugged him off. Sadly. The frog hopped over to her bed and sat down on her pillow. Before he could get comfortable, the princess ran over to him, picked him up, and placed him by the window. "But you promised," he cried. She sighed and took him back with her over by her bed. She read to him a bedtime story, and surprisingly, the frog was quite smart and funny. She actually enjoyed his company. When it was time to go to sleep, the frog asked her for a nighttime kiss. She refused, scrunching up her face, more at the sight of the green creature before her. The princess shut out the light and tried to go to sleep. Suddenly, she heard the sounds of weeping and crying. She turned the light back on to see the frog beside her, wiping tears from his eyes. She was hit with a wave of guilt for making the poor frog cry. She tucked him in bed alongside her and gave him a kiss very gently. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the green frog turned into a prince, and the prince informed her that an evil witch had put a spell on him, and only a kiss could return him back to his original state. It so happened that the princess was the first one to break the spell. Forever after, the prince and the princess were able to play together in the palace gardens. The princess was happier than ever to have a playmate. Whenever she accidentally threw the ball too high in the air, she was very ecstatic to have someone be able to go get it for her.